Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to another episode of my weekly playlist series. It's Friday, so that means it's time for me to share with you guys the games I have been playing during the week. I'll let you guys know my thoughts and opinions on these titles. Of course, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on them, whether you played them or not, what you thought of them. I also would love to hear what games you guys are playing because every week that I've done this series, you guys have been telling me about the games you're playing, and it has piqued my interest in quite a few games, so I really appreciate that. And if you guys have any suggestions on games you think I should check out, let me know because I do like to play a variety of genres for a variety of different consoles. I don't stick to just one console. I'm not a fanboy for any consoles. I just love all video games in general, and I play stuff from Sega, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. I don't care, Atari. I like to play different consoles. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know because you guys have suggested some great titles here in the past, and I do have a nice growing list of games to check out from either you guys' suggestions or from the games you guys talk about that you're playing. So keep those coming. Really appreciate them. So I've got 3 games to share with you guys today. I got one for Game Boy Advance, Xbox One, and PS4. So I've been playing a couple different consoles this week. First one here for Game Boy Advance is one that I'm continuing my journey on, and that is Donkey Kong Country 2. I did beat the Donkey Kong Country 1 Game Boy Advance version, and so I've now jumped onto Donkey Kong Country 2, and eventually I'd like to go to Donkey Kong Country 3 on Game Boy Advance. And for me, Donkey Kong Country 2 was always my favorite on the Super Nintendo of the 3 Donkey Kong Country games. I always liked number 2 the most and played that one the most, even though I really did love the original one, and that's what I started with. I loved number 2 just a little bit more, just because, with the graphics are a little bit more updated and the smoother animations and controls and everything, because obviously, the sequel refined from the original game, but I just liked it a little bit more than number 1. Of course, I still love 1, but I've always loved number 2 a little bit more. And I know there's a lot of people that do that, but there's also debate on what people like number 1 or 2 better. And number 3 kind of just like universally, most people don't enjoy it because of Kiddy Kong and Dixie Kong. They didn't like that Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong were both taken out of that one, but it is what it is. So do love this game. It's definitely worth checking out for Game Boy Advance. Now, if you guys have played the original ones on Super Nintendo, highly recommend checking these out still because they are wonderful ports that are enhanced. So, the enhanced ports. Now, of course, the graphics aren't going to be as great as they were on Super Nintendo because this was for Game Boy Advance and it was made for that little tiny screen, but it still does look pretty good. I do like playing this on my Game Boy player, on my GameCube, hooked up to a big TV, so I do like playing it on that. Of course, it does pixelate it a little bit, but for me, it still looks enjoyable and still looks good. Overall, I do like the sound quality on it. I mean, it's not the same because it's not a Super Nintendo, but the sound still is pretty good. I do have one complaint, and I mentioned this last week, is I just don't like that they changed some of the enemy sounds in the game when you kill certain enemies. I used to like they used to make that big noise, and now they've changed the character. So I wasn't a big fan of the character death noises and changes to the characters. I wish they would have kept the original ones, but it is what it is. I can deal with those minor changes. I did love that just like the first Donkey Kong Country, they added new story cutscenes to this game to add some more story to it because it was basically just reading like oh, we captured Donkey Kong and that's kind of it. This has a nice little intro thing where Donkey Kong sit on the beach and then you watch him get captured, and it's just really cool that they added those story features to this game. And they also will have it for the ending and in between, from the beginning to the end. There are other little cutscenes and stuff, and it's really cool seeing the different Kongs talk to your characters and give you story about it. So it's a great thing that they added to the game. Of course, they've added some new mini games. Really haven't got into them, but talks about you can test your skill and beat the clock in Diddy's Dash or race against your friends to see who's the fastest. So there's a Diddy Kong racing thing. And then go solo or challenge your friends in brand new bonus games like Funky Flights and Bag-a-Bug, which I have not checked those out, but it's pretty cool. The Swanky Kong, who does the game show stuff, it's been enhanced and updated, and there's actually different things and challenges you can do. Kong College has been changed a little bit with the Wrinkly Kong because you no longer need her to save like you did in this game. And then when you enter the world, you gotta free save the first time, and then you have to pay those 2 creme coins, which are easy to find in levels. But this, you can save it anytime you want through the menu, which is great. That was a great feature because, just like with the first Donkey Kong Country, the Wrinkly Kong's Kong College could be at the beginning of a world or could be at the end. And if you're in a really difficult one and she's kind of towards the middle and you die, you have to start that whole world all over again. It just really sucks. So I do love being able to save whenever you want because you just never know when, hey, I gotta go and do something. So I don't want to just leave the system sitting on all day till I get back. I can just save it now and then come back to it when I want to. So I do like that. And I've only beat the first world so far. I'm on world 2, but it's just awesome. Actually, though, I think the world later in the worlds. I like the mine carts that are in this. So yeah, that's probably my favorite stage. But right now I'm on the second world with the volcano and stuff, which has some really cool levels and cool enemies. But overall, really enjoyable game. Now, just like the original Donkey Kong Country for Game Boy Advance, this number 2, Donkey Kong Country 2 is here. They have enhanced the boss battles and made them a little bit more difficult and changed some of the stuff on it. I've only beat the first one, but even that I noticed some changes to him and some new animations and stuff, so that's really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the other bosses are like and change. And then of course they have that wonderful Lost World to get through, which are really difficult levels, and you had to get all the coins and stuff. Another thing too I like about this is that unlike in the original game, because in Donkey Kong Country 3 they had this, it actually tells you if you got the DK coin and all the bonuses in each level so that you can actually go for that 102% or 103%. I think this one had 102. I think the first one's 101, and I think number 3 is 103. But, something like that where you can 100% get all this stuff. They also added some extra collectibles with these little gold feathers you can find. So those are scattered throughout the world like in the original Donkey Kong Country. They had those cameras to find. So I do like all the additional features and stuff they've added to this. And it's a wonderful title. Highly recommend you guys check out Donkey Kong Country 2 for Game Boy Advance. If you're a fan of the Super Nintendo version, this is a great one to play again and experience. If you've never experienced, this is also a great way for you to check out the Donkey Kong Country series. Check out Donkey Kong Country 2. Wonderful title. Our next one here we're going to talk about is for Xbox One. And this is one that I started playing last week and I got a little further at it, and that is a game called The Persistence, which this is a cool first-person horror game. It originally started out on the PS4 as a VR game, and I'm not sure if it can be played without VR or not. My buddy Todd actually bought it digitally when I heard me talking about it, but he doesn't have a VR, but he was saying he thinks it's not, so he was going to check it out and let me know this week if he was able to play it without VR. But they did port it to the Xbox One, and so that's the version I got. Now, I did not know anything about this. I just saw this as an advertisement on Gamefly. It was pretty cheap, and I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. I'll buy that and see how it is. And I do really enjoy this game. It's really cool. So I'll read you guys a little thing on the back here about, can you survive the persistence? Fight to survive in this brutal first-person horror game. Explore, gather resources, and battle your way into the depths to save the ship and make the jump home. Stalk, evade, and fight the mutant horde. Upgrade your abilities and create an arsenal of new weapons. So which is really cool is this has RPG elements to it, and it is a horror game. Highly recommend if you guys have a headset to play with the headset on, because you hear so much more ambience and background sound and eerie music and stuff they play in the game that there are at times, and give me, like, if you guys love the original Alien movie, how the claustrophobic and dark and just space looking the way the ship does and creepy, like something could jump out at any time. That's what this ship looks like, which is really cool. So the ship is called the Persistence. Now you play as, God, I can't think of the damn lady's name, but you play as a character, and you find out that everybody's pretty much dead on the ship except for there's an AI thing that talks to you. And the whole thing for this is you got to get the ship fixed and get back to home, because the ship is stuck near a black hole, and if you don't fix the ship, and it'll eventually get sucked in there and then you'll die. And what you find out is that there's mutant enemies in the game, because there's body replicators where it replicates bodies, and it's replicating all these dead guys, and they're all over the ship, and there's all kinds of different ones too. And since I'm so early in the game, I haven't experienced all the different enemies, but I do know that the further along you get in the game, the tougher they are. And this game is not easy. And it says right at the beginning, they talk about how we expect you to die and die and die many times like a Dark Souls game. And that you learn from what mistakes you did, and you get better. And of course you can upgrade your character to get more health and be stronger and have better attacks and better weapons and stuff. And you just pays for you to keep playing and learn from your mistakes. It's just really cool because I died a few times and got to a certain point, and this last time that I died really annoyed me because I was right towards the end of beating the very first level, the first section, because I think there's a total of like 4, and if you could beat the game, I think in like between like 10 to 15 or 20 hours, depending on how long it takes you to play through. For me, I like to explore and get everything you can. What's really cool is there's different resources in the game. Like there's stem cells, which you can harvest from enemies. You can also find them around because you can use that to upgrade your character. But then there are also upgrade parts and other stuff throughout the ship that you can find. So it definitely pays to explore every area, look through every nook and cranny to get those valuable resources, because you use that for crafting, because you can craft weapons, but then you also can craft ammo for them and upgrades for them. So there's all kinds of stuff. There's also schematics that you have to find. The enemies will randomly drop. Some are better than others. There's also really cool is they have these item loot boxes basically set in a random part of the ship. And of course, the further along you get in the story, the more difficult they are to get. But once you get them, they can be filled with great resources. Sometimes, though, they can spawn a whole bunch of enemies to attack you. I did find a really cool Nero serum that you can actually use to make an enemy become your friend. They have a heart above their head, and they start winking at you and smiling. I thought it was kind of cool, kind of creepy at the same time, though, because you hear this guy like, and he's like staring at you all like, because he's in love with you, but he'll fight the other enemies for you. Now I did that one time to 2 of them, and I thought, oh cool, I'll just get an army of these guys, but they end up fighting with each other for whatever reason. I guess they only want to be the one that loves you, so they fight the other one. So it's best to only use it on one person, but it's really cool. Now if you guys, I would highly recommend doing stealth, because if you can stealth kill these guys real quick and steal their stem cells out of their body and kill them real quick. Another thing I discovered recently that was really cool is that there's actually more than just the one character that I started as, because I actually ran into another crew member. Obviously, he was dead, but I was able to take his DNA sample and I brought it back to the beginning of the game where it's your like safe haven where you can teleport to it. And then when you start the game, you can now be in that guy's body, and he has different abilities and stuff. So that once you find the different crew members in the game, you actually can play as those crew members because you resurrect their body. Your mind is saved and you can put into another body. So that's really cool. And now this is like a roguelike game where if you die, you have to start that whole level over. And what's really cool though is that the ship randomly reconfigures itself, and the AI tells you, like, oh well, the ship is doing something, so it's moving the rooms around. So basically, every time you play, the ship's layout is different. And one tip I have for you is when you first go, you start out, you'll get your body, and then you'll go to a teleporter, and it'll teleport to where the ship is. So before you go in there, you can look to bring up the map and like, I don't like the way this is looking. The main objectives is so far away, and the bonus one's not that close. I just don't like the way the ship is laid out. You can go back in the portal at the beginning, then go back in again, and it'll reconfigure the ship again for you. And you can do that until you get a layout that you really like. So that's a cool tip for you guys to do with this game. Another thing I found out that's really awesome is there's actually a app you can download on your phone, whether you have Android or Apple, and you can use that. It's supposed to be for 2 players, like someone there, they could either help you or hinder you by, like, they could turn off the power or the lights. But on their thing, they could tell you where on the map where items are or where enemies are. And so I thought that was kind of neat. I linked it with my phone. I haven't tried it yet, but I thought that'd be kind of cool. I could just do it solo, like, pause the game, look on the app thing, and look to where certain things are. So I thought that was a kind of cool enhancement. I love games that incorporate, like, using your phone in this, because they had that in Dead Rising 3, where you would hook up the app, and when the characters would call you in the game, it would actually call your phone through the app, and they would talk to you on the phone. So I thought that was kind of cool. I really like that interaction where, dual screens and stuff. It's something really cool that, like, only Nintendo has done, but Microsoft has done it with a few games for Xbox One, but it's not something they really expanded on or really researched or really committed to, because I thought that'd been really cool to have more connectability with your phone in the game. So that's something that's on here that's really cool that I discovered, and it's something I'm going to check out here this next week and see how it is, because I did hear some people have had issues with it connecting, so I'll have to check it out and see how it is. But I'm loving this Persistence game so far. It's really cool. It's eerie. It's freaky, scary. I really like that you can craft different weapons, because obviously different weapons are stronger against different enemies. And man, is it just not easy. And I was so disappointed. I got so far in the game and died, and so I got to start that whole first level over. But I've gotten really strong since I've been collecting resources. Highly recommend get resources, because the more you get, the stronger you can make your character, and it makes the game a lot easier, because it's not easy. And this is not a game you can just go guns blazing, because those enemies, if there's more than one, they swarm on you, they can kill you real quick. And it's best to make sure you upgrade your melee damage, and you upgrade your health. Really important to those two, because you can do um, it can last a lot longer, and you have to find health packs. And it's not regenerating health, so there are health packs randomly spread out throughout the ship. There is a medical section you can find that has a bunch of them, but once you run out of health, that's it. You're out of health. You can get screwed, and so you want to watch out for stuff like that. And there's resources that you can craft. Now, well, there is a penalty too. I didn't mention that if you do die, whatever weapons you had on you are gone, and you have to start over. Now, of course, you don't lose anything as far as like you don't lose your perks, you don't lose anything, your skills you've unlocked, or your items, like as far as resources that you found. You don't lose any of that stuff, but you do lose your weapons. So if you found a really sweet weapon, like there's this anti-gravity gun where you can pick up enemies and slam them up and down and throw them against walls, like that's really cool. There's this really sweet pistol that I found in the game. There's a needle gun. I think there's like a shotgun. Like there's a variety of weapons to dispatch enemies with, and some are better than others. And of course, you can upgrade them. There's a baton you can get in the game, and I read on it that if you upgrade it fully, you can actually get like a electric thing, and you can zap the enemies. Another cool thing you have is you have a shield ability, which you can throw a shield up, and the more you upgrade it, the stronger it is, and you can actually block and reflect every attack that ever happens to you, and you can also parry it just right. They'll get stunned, and you can take them sometimes out with a one-hit kill, because they'll flip around, and then you can zap them with your gun and steal their stem cells. So really cool. Still learning a lot of stuff about this game, but man, it's really fun. I think you guys should check out Xbox One, PS4. I mean, it'd be really cool in VR. I had seen people who played it in the VR, and they said they absolutely loved it, because obviously this game was made for VR, but I'm still enjoying it on the console. Now, I do want to let you know, too, that as far as what the controls go, that when you move over an object, you put the reticle over it, it'll, there's green or something, it auto picks up stuff and auto opens doors. So you got to be really careful not keeping that little reticle to, like, if you don't want to open a door because there's an enemy on the other side, but you want to peek through, make sure you kind of keep it up away from there, because it does have that auto open. And they did that because of being VR, to make it easier for people to play. So when they ported the console, they should have made it where you just hit the A button to open it, but after you play it for a little bit, you get used to that and understand that. You got to watch out. There are booby traps in the ship too, which is cool. Like sometimes there'll be an electrical panel on the ground. If you hit it, could kill you instantly. Sometimes there'll be exploding panels where you think there might be a item to find, because there are boxes and things to open and panels and stuff. And if it flashes and then you see it turning red, you actually, if you can get it off quick enough, you won't open it, won't get the booby traps. So I do like that they're not always secrets somewhere. Sometimes there's traps and stuff you have to watch, and there's vents and stuff, and enemies will follow you into the vents. So if you guys have played Alien Isolation, the vents are not safe in this game either. But definitely check out the Persistence. This is an awesome game. This is one I'm hoping to beat. I just know it's going to take me a while, because I still have to perfect my game and get better at this, which I have been getting better at the blocking and the countering, and using the different weapons that are available to me for certain enemies that I have run into. And it's really cool. There's been some freaky incidences where there was this fast, crazy creature lady, like, freaked me the hell out. She just, like, all of a sudden appeared in the dark. I turned in there, she was like, holy shit, that fucking freaked me out. It was just fun. But definitely check out the Persistence for Xbox One or PS4. Wonderful title. And the last game we're going to talk about here is one that I've just played a little bit more here. I haven't played actually since September last year, and that was Samurai Warriors 4, which just is awesome. Love the Samurai Warriors game, Dynasty Warriors game. There's actually going to be a Samurai Warriors 5 coming out, but they're kind of changing the art style, making them anime looking, so I don't know. I'll have to look into that one and see. I might rent it from Gamefly and see if I like it enough to pick it up, because it's coming out for PS4 and Nintendo Switch, and I think maybe Xbox One, but I'm not sure. So we'll have to see how that is, but I love this Samurai Warriors 4. I also have Samurai Warriors 4 2, which is an upgraded and a version of this. It adds stuff to it. And then there's also Samurai Warriors 4 Empire, which I'd like to eventually get, but I want to beat this original one. And I have beat a couple of the different story modes, and as you beat them, you unlock new story modes that play with new characters and stuff. They've added new characters since the previous 3 Samurai Warriors games. This one, for me, plays the best of any of the Samurai Warrior games I have played, from the first one and second one, which were on PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, and playing Samurai Warriors 3 on the Nintendo Wii, and now this on PS4. This PS4 version looks the best. The graphics are awesome. It controls really well. And if you guys have ever played like the older Dynasty Warrior games, like especially like Dynasty Warriors 2 for PS2, where that one's like seems really slow, this one's a much more faster pace, and you seem to be able to kill enemies a lot quicker. And those other ones, like, it really took a lot to get to 1,000 kills, where like this one you can get to in like 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how enemies are on the screen. Now, the other thing I like about this is this actually has where you can create your own created character, and I created my own Sleepy character in the game. He's a big, tall, giant guy with red eyes. Kind of looks like a demon dude with black armor and stuff. Has twin dagger swords. This really cool dude, badass, and I've been leveling him up. I'm at like level 15 now, where there's this Chronicle mode you can play, which is specifically tailored for created characters, and you make your own like story, and you run into characters from the game, you make alliances, and you have enemies and stuff, and has its own little story mode, which I'm also playing that and going through, and that's what I was actually playing actually just a few minutes here before filming this game here at like 1:30 in the morning here on Friday, which, usually these ones I film early Friday morning because that's when my son and my wife are asleep, and it's the time I had to film these. Then I go to sleep, wake up on Fridays, upload these, and then I go to work. So you guys should definitely check out Samurai Warriors 4 if you love these hack and slash games from Koei Tecmo like I do. I've been playing them all from every series. I got multiple versions on multiple consoles and stuff. I just love this series. I just can't get enough of these. I know some people hate them because like, oh, it's the same thing over and over. It is, but it's just fun for me. I just love these games, and this is one I want 100% because I did that with Dynasty Warriors 2, Dynasty Warriors 3, 4, 5, 6. I haven't completely beat 7. I'm also working on 8 and 9 and, all the Samurai Wars, but I beat a lot of them and 100%ed them and just had a blast. And they're games I can just go back and play anytime because they're just fun, hack and slash. There's just tons of characters and you can do all kinds of cool stuff. And I love they have this created character and that Chronicle mode. So definitely check it out. So we'll do our quick little recap like we do each week. I talked about Donkey Kong Country 2 for Game Boy Advance. This is a wonderful port of the Super Nintendo version. Has some enhancements over the Super Nintendo one as far as there's new cutscenes that has added story. They enhanced the boss battles. They've added some new collectibles, new mini games. Only thing I really didn't like is they changed some of the sounds of the enemies, but overall, it's a wonderful game. Highly recommend you guys check it out. We talked about the Persistence. This is a sweet first-person horror game where you can craft resources and stuff. It's roguelike, where the ship's configuration changes every time you play, and every time you die, it reconfigures itself, so you'll never play it the same twice, which I think is awesome. It's a difficult game, but it is very fun and rewarding. Great atmosphere to the game. It'll really freak you out, especially if you play the headphones, play in the dark, late at night. Man, there's just some creepy shit that happens in this game, but it's really fun and worth checking out. And then, of course, we talked about Samurai Warriors 4, which this is my favorite of the 4 Samurai Warrior games out there so far. Absolutely love it. There eventually is going to be a Samurai Warriors 5, but they're kind of changing the art style, so I'll have to look into seeing how that is. But I'll probably end up getting just because, I love my Samurai Warriors games and Dynasty Warriors and that. But definitely check it out because it has tons of wonderful story content. Plus, it's got where you can create your own character. It has a new Chronicle mode, which has its own story mode, which I'm playing and exploring. And you meet new characters and challenges, and it's just a really fun game. So let me know your guys' thoughts. If you played any of these 3 titles, if you liked them, if you didn't like them. Of course, I want to hear what games you guys have been playing, because it gives me great ideas on games to check out. And if you have any recommendations on a game you think I should check out, let me know. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see you guys next time.